Malcolm, what are you scared of?
Judgment.
Terminator, but as an anime, can conjure up a variety of possibilities in your mind. Given that series like The Matrix have been introduced in the medium, it isn't the hardest thing to imagine. However, it does make you wonder the question every fan has when their series is doing something completely new. Will it be good? Are we going to get an entirely CGI mess that is a mix of the recent Terminator movies and anime tropes? Netflix being the one to acquire it totally makes sense, but can also spark those fears. For every Violet Evergarden, there is a Knights of Sidonia. That being said, even some of these series that might not be so easy on the eyes aren't that bad. Thankfully for us, Terminator Zero both visually and narratively avoids these pitfalls. The Terminator franchise last left us with Terminator Dark Fate. It was met with mixed reviews, but was generally seen as an improvement from Terminator Genisys. Unfortunately, it still wasn't the best known. Since then, both Linda Hamilton and Arnold have gone on to say they wouldn't be featured in any further installments. Arnold saying that they weren't well written, and Hamilton saying that the story had been done to death. The only real hope people had is James Cameron offhand saying that he's been working on writing a script for a Terminator reboot. Cameron hasn't touched the franchise since leaving us with what many consider to be the greatest action movie of all time, Terminator Judgment Day in 1991. So hopefully in between the next 10 Avatar movies we can get something. Terminator Zero taking the franchise in an anime direction is a good move and arguably a necessity. It's understandable why people think you can't do any more with the franchise, but plenty of its contemporaries have managed to reinvent themselves. The Alien franchise has been completely revitalized since 2012's Prometheus. Predator has been off and on, but with films like Prey and Predators, it has managed to reinvent itself. Taking it in this new direction and ditching the characters of old allows the series to not be hampered by live-action limitations or a vision of the past. It's impossible to account for taste, but Terminator Zero largely nails its blend of both 3D and 2D animation. The 3D is used to emphasize mechanical or robotic parts, emphasizing the difference between human and machine. The action sequences take a lot of notes from the original Terminator and Judgment Day. There are a lot of references and vibes that carry on over, one for one, more or less. Given that they're largely appealing to a Western audience that probably hasn't seen any anime outside of a Studio Ghibli film or Dragon Ball Z, it's understandable why they went this route. It doesn't hamper the story thankfully, and actually makes it a bit more palatable for people who aren't into anime aesthetics or tropes. They even go out of their way to subvert these here and there, or do unique takes on them given their setting in Japan. There are also anime tropes, but they're more akin to an anime like Psycho-Pass or even Ghost in the Shell. Needless to say, but this anime is and was not ever going to be something on that level. Most of the issues with technicals can be chopped up to the expected. Either expectations or comparisons to something that it was never going to be or advertised as. Nothing is a 10, but everything is somewhere between 7 and 9. Technicals wise, it's very good and perfectly accomplishes what they set out to do. The anime explores themes of family, fate, and the question of whether humanity is worth saving. It highlights the contrast between the past and the future, focusing on Malcolm Lee's efforts to develop an AI that could be humanity's last hope. As the Terminator pursues him, the story raises questions about morality and human nature, though these themes are touched upon more lightly. The narrative hints at deeper issues about the future of humanity, but focuses more on delivering a streamlined and engaging story. At its heart, the series is driven by the complex family dynamics between Malcolm and his son, Kenta. Malcolm's struggle to protect his family adds emotional depth, while Kenta's strong anti-robot stance introduces tension. The series doesn't dive as deeply into moral ambiguity as it could, but it still keeps viewers invested. The portrayal of the Terminator as a relentless, fearsome antagonist is spot on, and the action scenes maintain that intensity. For me, the Terminator portrayal was definitely the highlight of the anime. While the philosophical monologuing isn't as great as it could be, the show excels in its character-driven story and thrilling action, making it a strong and promising entry in the franchise. It's a fresh and exciting take, breathing new life into the series with a mix of stunning animation and a focus on characters. Moving the story into the anime medium really works here, blending 2D and 3D animation in a way that enhances the action and themes. Set in Japan, the series feels both familiar for longtime Terminator fans, while bringing something new and engaging to the table. It sidesteps a lot of the traps that other CGI-heavy projects fall into, making it feel like a necessary evolution for the franchise, not just a rehash. While Terminator Zero dives into big themes like family, fate, and the survival of humanity, there's so much more potential to unpack. The first season introduces some interesting moral questions and complex relationships, especially between Malcolm Lee and his son Kenta, but a second season could really dive deeper. The groundwork is there, and it just needs more room to explore these new characters and ideas. With its exciting action, strong emotional core, and fresh direction, Terminator Zero absolutely deserves a Season 2 to take everything further and cement itself as a standout. What did you think of Terminator Zero? Would you be excited for a second season? If you didn't like it, what are the main reasons? Be sure to let us know in the comments below. Thanks for making it until the end of the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Here at Inner Spiral, we aim to cover the video games, movies, and shows we all love. So be sure to join us, and we'll see you next time in the Spiral.